Hey David, welcome to the stream. I apologize everyone, I am having a late snack here, so I am eating, I apologize. Hey Philip, welcome. Oh, well, this ought to be a lot of fun then. I don't know if you've been through, I'm not going to spoil it, but what's going to be coming up next in between the Shadowlands and Rivington, but it ought to be a fun thing to watch. Then yeah, today's going to be really, really interesting. There's a lot to learn. There's some very surprising developments that take place. And yeah, a lot is going to be revealed today. Well, I'm not sure I'd watch my video on that. I think one of them I did pretty well. I think the other one was a disaster. The easiest way really to get through it is just to fight them. When you trigger the combat with them, you can... And again, I apologize, I'm snacking here. When you trigger the combat with them, you can move out from behind an object, get a ranged attack on the tower, and then move back into cover again. And you can just rinse and repeat that. It works best with a warlock or somebody who has Eldritch Blast. But yeah, that's the easiest way. I tried to sneak my way through both times, and like I say, I think one of them worked, and the other one was a disaster. But yeah, I would not use a potion of invisibility to do it. And if you are going to use the invisibility spell to do it, either through the Shadow of Menzoberranzan Helm or something like that, I would go into turn-based mode when you do it. You tend to be able to move farther overall in turn-based mode than you do in regular gameplay. For whatever reason that is. You tend to move farther there, so I do it that way. Hey, Learner, you're welcome. Again, I apologize to everyone. I'm snacking here. I got a late lunch, so. Yeah, do you mean the arcane tower out in front? The arcane turrets that are out there that they kind of point like a laser beam at you to indicate that they're targeting you, and then they will fire at you afterwards. Yes, that's what you attack. However, they are resistant to, and I need to go look that up. Because they are resistant. Actually, here I just looked it up. So they're vulnerable to lightning damage. They are not resistant to force damage. So they are immune to necrotic poison and psychic. They are resistant to piercing, slashing, and fire. They are vulnerable to lightning, but they are not resistant to force damage. However, they are sturdy, which means that you have to cause at least 10 damage in a single attack to cause damage to it. So that's why Eldritch Blast works so well, is because it doesn't use a spell slot. You can cast it over and over again. And if you have Agonizing Blast with a high charisma character, you're going to be able to deal 10 damage regularly. So that's why I recommended taking somebody out there that has Eldritch Blast, and then you just, like I say, take cover behind one of the rocks, let their turns expire, and then on the next turn you jump out, Eldritch Blast one of the turrets, move back into cover, just kind of like what I do with Darkness. Move somebody out of darkness, initiate an attack, move them back into darkness. You do the same thing, and that's by far the easiest way to do it. But like I say, if you're going to do it with invisibility or something, that's perfectly fine too. Just make sure that you're doing it in turn-based mode, because otherwise you may run out of that invisibility while you're on the far side trying to jump to the mushrooms and that sort of stuff, and then you're going to get blasted. Yeah, then that'll be fine. Hey Smurf, welcome. I assume it's something around 9 p.m. over there for you? Yeah, Philip, remember that you can also enter through the bottom of the arcane tower and use one of the susser blooms to shut off all of the arcane turrets. That's much easier than trying to kill them all, because some of them are, I think there's one floor, the main floor, the floor above it, where there's 3 of them on the floor, and it can get hard to take them all out. So, but my video shows, both my videos show how to get around the backside with a lock picking somebody or a shape shifting somebody to get into the bottom and shut off the turrets. So Smurf, am I going to be releasing a midweek playthrough? So yeah, that's kind of, I'm taking this Wednesday off while I decide and or prep for what's happening on Wednesday. I'm playing Dragon's Dogma 2 right now to test it out, and right now the game is wholly unsuitable for me to live stream it. It's just not going to happen. I like the game, it just is not going to work for me live streaming it, I don't think. So more than likely, yes, we are going to see another Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, which is what the community voted for. And more than likely, it's going to be an honor mode run. And probably going to be showcasing a new class with the monk. I will not probably be playing that monk. I have a much better idea for that monk another way. But yes, the party is probably going to, the party is not probably, is going to have a monk in it. But that won't start this week, that will start next Wednesday at the earliest. Well, if you guys like to see me get frustrated and die and end an honor mode run, then yes, it's going to be fun for y'all. Honor mode is, it's another level. And you are absolutely going to see some cheese. There's just no other way around it. I thought about doing a custom run, but unfortunately you cannot turn on legendary actions in custom mode. Or else I would just do all the same difficulty as honor mode and but still have more than one save file. But unfortunately can't do that. Custom mode is a little bit limited in that respect. The health pools and the difficulty are all based in honor mode or tactician. There is no honor mode difficulty that's above that. Honor mode introduces all the other things, like the single save file and the legendary actions, and nerfs some synergies and that sort of stuff in the game. But I can set everything in custom mode, except I cannot use I can't turn on legendary actions in custom mode, which is really one of the things that makes honor mode so challenging to play. Yeah, I saw he used the haste spore grenade, and while he was hasted, he walked into the haste spore grenade and they canceled each other out, and he died. On the last hit on the nether brain, right before the ending. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started, but first I'm going to drop my food in the refrigerator. I'll be right back. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 32 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, first, I still do have a cough. I'm recovering from it, so if I mute my mic to cough and then I forget to unmute it and you have some lapse in sound from me where I'm not talking, please drop a comment, let me know, and I'll correct it. So, sorry it's been going on for a couple of weeks now. But yeah, hopefully it's almost done. So, on the second admin note, just to confirm that the voting has ended, as I mentioned in the community poll, and Baldur's Gate 3 has won for a new playthrough happening on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time here in the US. That's GMT -5 right now. So, I also said I would be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 to check it out and see if I wanted to play that on stream. And there were some comments from people who wanted to see it. That game let me clarify. I'm enjoying playing the game. However, there are limitations to that game which make it wholly unsuitable for me to be able to play it on live stream. And what I mean by that is that I like to play a game off stream simultaneously while I am playing a live stream so that I can make sure I understand it, make sure I can help inform and instruct my viewership while I'm playing it. If I was just playing it and learning as I go, that's not really my style. Unfortunately, I cannot do that with Dragon's Dogma 2. There is one save file. You cannot start two characters at the same time. You cannot have two different playthroughs going through. It doesn't work. None of that is available in the game. There are a bunch of other things that I like and really don't like about the game, but those don't really factor into whether I'm going to play it or not on live stream. That simple fact that you cannot have any more than one character going and one playthrough going at the same time, and there's only one save file. You cannot load previous saves or anything like that. That is going to cancel it out for me. So it is going to be another Baldur's Gate 3 stream. We're going to take this Wednesday off while I prep and get another live stream for Baldur's Gate 3 ready. This will be my personal playthrough, the Bard playthrough here, the Paladin playthrough here, the new playthrough coming up, my Honor Mode playthrough, as well as an off-stream playthrough to go through all of these things again in Honor Mode, because some of the things that are now in Honor Mode were not there when I did the first portions of it on my other Honor Mode playthrough. So I think I'm gonna have 6, maybe 7 playthroughs going at the same time here. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. But that playthrough will feature a monk as one of the classes. I will not be playing a monk as my main character. I think in Honor Mode there is one character that you have to have that is the end-all be-all of what you need to do in Honor Mode. So I'm going to be playing that character as my main, but I have a much better suited character to be a monk, and I'll explain all that in the playthrough. So this Wednesday we won't have a live stream, but probably starting next week we will, and it's going to be a new Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, and it's going to be in Honor Mode. So y'all will get to see me be extraordinarily frustrated and nervous and fearful throughout my entire playthrough. But we'll see how it goes. So the last thing on admin notes is a conversation recap that was had with Sven from Larian about Baldur's Gate 3. This isn't a surprise. This is really just confirmation of what we all really knew already. But hearing it nevertheless makes some people upset. There are not going to be any DLCs for Baldur's Gate 3. Larian has confirmed it explicitly, plain language. There are not going to be any DLCs for this game. They have also confirmed that there is not going to be a Baldur's Gate 4 made by Larian. They are not going to do it. They are stepping away from the franchise. And both of those decisions I can completely understand. Larian has said that they are not the type of company to bilk you out of every dollar that you have by throwing out content that really should have been in the base game to begin with and charging a DLC fee for it. They don't have microtransactions for adding in items or cosmetics or additional content. They don't have season passes or any of that sort of stuff that these large companies use to just take every dollar they can from you. They told you that they want you to buy the game once, and it is yours for the rest of your life, and that game is finished. And they have been extraordinary in adding in new content for free, basically, and a lot of it at the request of the fan base, which developers just don't do. So I can understand them not wanting to put out DLCs. It's just against their company's principles, so to speak. As far as Baldur's Gate 4, I can completely understand that as well. They had to license Dungeons & Dragons content from Wizards of the Coast, and I have no doubt that that content, that license, was extraordinarily expensive. We are talking multi-millions of dollars, is my guess, to license that content. And I certainly understand them not wanting to do it again, especially when they have such established content with their Divinity Original Sin series. So my guess is that they're going to be working on another DOS game while they continue on toward what Sven called the RPG to end them all, which is part of his plan. That's going to be another originally developed game, similar to the Divinity series, where they take all their lessons learned, they put them all together into something that is all their own. That's obviously a much longer plan. Don't expect that anytime soon. But I would expect that we're probably going to have another DOS game probably in 3 to 4 years, and these are purely speculations on my part. But they will not put out any DLCs for this, and they will not be making a sequel to this. So, as sad as that may be, they've been incredible, and I'm certainly not going to knock them for that decision. So I think that ends our admin notes. So on a recap, last week we finished up the Illithid colony and finalized it by defeating the Apostle of Merkel. And we are now in the Illithid colony at the aftermath of that fight. And we're going to pick right up from there because there's going to be some stuff that we have to deal with before we officially move on to Act 3. Okay, so here we are. So at the end of this, the Apostle has been defeated, and we have some stuff that we can search while we're up here. So we'll just get these knocked out really quickly here. Okay, and all these things we've seen before, with the exception of some of this. So the grand design here talks about what the Mind Flayer's plans are, or I guess what his plans are to try and utilize the grand design of the Mind Flayers to basically take over the cosmos.
Into my pocket.
The Absolute End here is another book that talks about some very interesting things. For those of you who are fans of another live streamed Dungeons and Dragons tabletop playthrough, you will be familiar with Vecna and who Vecna was. But this is some very interesting things about the rising of the cult of the Absolute. And Lord Gartash, the committee would like to extend an invitation to a formal meeting to discuss plans. And this is from the committee chair to Lord Gartash. And you're going to learn a lot more about this as we move through here. Hey, Em. Hey, Chilby. Both of you, welcome. Yes, looks like I forgot a couple necromites up here.
Time for discretion. Step lightly.
Okay, and then up here,
despite everything,
we can search Isabel. Isabel's going to have the Moon Devotion robe here. So while the wearer has mage armor, each successful saving throw causes the source of that saving throw to take 1d4 radiant damage. Also, that gives you the Produce Flame cantrip and Lunar Bulwark, which is basically mage armor. So you cast Lunar Bulwark on yourself, and then anybody who does something to you that requires a saving throw, they're going to take 1d4 radiant damage. A spear +1 that she was using, you have Jandel's gloves. When the wearer becomes blinded, paralyzed, or poisoned, they automatically cast lesser restoration on themselves. Now, this is interesting. I haven't played around much with these, and I'm going to try it and see kind of how it works. These could be very, very useful in certain encounters that you're going to encounter, especially when you become blinded and or paralyzed. There's a fight in Act 3 where if you are not darkness based, you are going to be blinded all the time. And I'm anxious to see how something like this works and what it would do in those situations. There's also a Mind Flayer Parasite here. That'll take us up to 12. And I'm just going to pick up all of these.
What now? Don't linger.
I'm going to have Gale head over here and loot the Intellect of Hours. Hey, Sublight, welcome. Whoops. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to enhance sleep. Okay, and then I think that should be it. So we're going to group everybody up. And then we're going to search Ketherick. And you can see that's the last thing that we need to do. So yes, all of these. So the last thing that we need to do is search his body for his nether stone.
In death, the body is cooling, but energy radiates from the stone. Remarkable, truly. And now the picture comes together. The Absolute is neither god nor man. It is the Elder Brain you saw, held here by those three against its will. The crown it wears controls it, and these stones control the crown. It has been dominated. To master an Elder Brain, to subdue it. Our enemies are formidable. The crown's markings suggest it was forged in Netheril, an ancient empire whose mastery over magic rivaled that of the gods. It is a crown of domination. The stones were taken from its crest. They are nether stones, imbued with the ability to control the wearer of the crown. The crown's Netherese magic must be the true source of the parasite's abilities. This must be what elevates their potential. And it must be the reason nobody could heal you. If the crown can do this to the parasite, I dare not imagine what it is doing to the brain.
Netherese? These chosen are powerful indeed to have such magic in their command.
So, Netheril is very famous in the Forgotten Realms lore, and Karsus being extraordinarily famous wizard in Netheril. I think legend has it he cast his first spell when he was 2 years old, or something like that. But yes, there's also a whole bunch of stuff concerning Karsus's avatar and the crown of Karsus, which is what we're hearing about here.
A temporary reprieve, but a welcome one. With a brain on its way to the city, its influence here is weakened. I believe you fought and defeated an avatar of Merkel, the god of necromancy. A remarkable feat. Ketheric was Merkel's chosen. I know Lord Enver Gortash, an arms dealer and a slaver. He is a worshipper of Bane, the god of tyranny. The other is a mystery to me, but the way she spoke, it is most likely she follows Baal, god of murder. Which means the Absolute is a front for the gods of death, and our enemies are chosen of the dead three. Bane, Baal, and Merkel. The tyrant, the assassin, and the necromancer. They are known to pick from their most devout followers a chosen, granting them incredible powers. Each one alone would be a formidable enemy. But working together and controlling an Elder Brain, I dare not imagine what they might achieve. Hope is a luxury for those who have a choice. This is the battle of our lives, and the lives of everyone in Faerun. The army of the Absolute is marching on Baldur's Gate. Within the city, an Elder Brain, brimming with power, ready to turn everyone within its reach into mind flayers. All it needs is an order the Death God's chosen are on the cusp of giving. We must wrest control of the brain from the chosen before that happens. We must take their stones. Our chances of success are slim, but we must not fail. If we fail, everything ends. I will be your shield, but you must be the sword. And when the chance comes to strike, you must take it, for there may only be one chance.
Okay, We're going to get a journal update to get a couple of nether stones. We'll look at that here in a second. So the crumpled note on his body is from Isabel. Just a letter from his daughter to him. There's a supply pack which we'll send off to camp, and now we have these 3 items. So the first is Kethric's Warhammer. So Kethric's Warhammer is a regular +1 Warhammer that does 1d4 psychic damage. That's nice, but again, that does not compare to the Charge-bound Warhammer by 2. So the Charge-bound Warhammer is a +2 weapon once you bind it as a packed weapon. So it's +2 to hit, +2 to damage, plus it has 1d6 lightning damage as opposed to 1d4 psychic damage. So Kethric's is good if you do not have somebody who is able to wield the Charge-bound Warhammer. With that 1d4 additional psychic damage, it can be pretty nice. Psychic is one of the least resisted damage types unless you're fighting a specific type of enemy. Kethric's Shield is you gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws, and you have the regular shield bash. So for a caster that is using a shield, this is a straight upgrade for them on their ability to hit with their spells. And then Reaper's Embrace. Now, Reaper's Embrace is interesting in that it's magical plate, so all damage is reduced by 2. That's the same as the adamantine splint that I'm wearing. You have disadvantage on stealth checks. That's the same. It has attackers can't land critical hit on the wearer on the split mail. That is not on Reaper's Embrace. I'm gaining 1 more armor class. This is 19 versus 18. I'm getting rid of adamantine backlash, which causes reeling, and in its place I'm getting Reaper's rigidity. When activated, you cannot be moved against your will by any spell or action, which means you cannot be shoved, you cannot be repelling blast, you cannot be pushing attacked, or anything like that. And that can be very, very useful against a specific group of people that you're going to be fighting here fairly quickly. Now, this comes with, like I say, the disadvantage compared to the split mail, in that I'm getting rid of reeling and I can't have critical hits landed on me. This type of entity that I'm talking about, where Reaper's rigidity is going to help you against them, they land critical hits quite a bit. So this is a trade-off here, whether or not you might be shoved off of a cliff or into the chasm, which is very likely to happen, or being able to absorb a critical hit. You also get Howl of the Dead cantrip. The Howl of the Dead cantrip is once per short rest. In a 3-meter radius around you, all creatures are going to be numbed. That means that their movement speed is halved, and the spellcaster has advantage on attack rolls against that entity. Now, if you're not fighting in darkness and the enemies aren't blinded, this can help you gain advantage against a group of enemies who are around you, which can be very, very useful. I'm actually going to swap this out onto my Paladin for now, but we'll see whether or not I end up keeping it there or not. Right? Our journal entries, we now need to get Gortash's Netherstone and Orin's Netherstone. We've got 1, we got Kethric's, we now need to get the other 2, and both of these are going to happen in Act 3 after we get to Baldur's Gate. Okay, so now we're going to come around the back and head through the portal.
thinking on all that we learned below?
Hey, Antonio,
If
welcome.
you've caught your breath, we ought to discuss our next steps.
So, what's my build looking like? It's straightforward. The same continuation of where we are. We're continuing on with the Hexblade Paladin build that we have set at level 10. So we're now 5 Warlock, 5 Paladin. Once we level up again, that's going to change a little bit, but for now, that's kind of where we're sitting. So let's talk to Gale real quick.
I can't help but feel like I've been fumbling in the dark for too long. And I've just had a lit torch thrust into my hands. The crown! The one the Elder Brain was wearing. The one I very nearly destroyed. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete, that I didn't even recognize it at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerous Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Book shopping? But yes, their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
Okay. There's going to be a bunch of other conversations that we want to have here. You see that Halson's here, Withers is here, and Jaheira's here as well. So Chibi asked, where did I find that Fight in the Darkness spell? The spell is just darkness. Shadowheart has it where she can cast it every turn without using a spell slot because of Char's Spear of the Evening, which she received. But it's also just a spell that can be cast by various different casters. Warlocks and wizards have access to it. But now that I've got it with Shadowheart every turn, I don't even have it prepared on anybody else. It's just way too easy for her to cast it. Is darkness a good battle strategy? I find it to be an extraordinary battle strategy. If you watch the last video, it makes fighting in enemies that aren't that can't see in magical darkness really, really easy.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Our enemies spread like rub rot. Treat one patch, and 2 more bloom in its place. An elder brain, bound by lost Netherese magic, with servants of the dead 3 holding the chain. Reminds me of old times. Aren't you? It is good to savor the moment of victory. But pace yourself. Our fight is just beginning. When we met, I was licking my wounds. An old bear with her leg caught in the hunter's snare. Now I've slipped free of the trap and rediscovered my claws. It's time for me to hunt my prey. You have a nether stone, and you're on the scent of 2 more. These chosen have reason to fear you, and I would like to be at your side when you confront them. Glad to be there. Falling foul of Ketheric convinced me that my grand adventures were behind me. That even if I survived, I should hang up my blades. But you convinced me otherwise. We ventured into darkness together. Now we've come out the other side. I'd say I'm feeling a little refreshed. When we reach Baldur's Gate, there will be even darker paths to tread. I will follow you wherever they lead. How does it compare to a shadow-cursed inn? With the Absolute's army gone, the Risen Road should be clear. We can follow it all the way to Baldur's Gate. There's a Harper's safe house in Wyrm's Crossing. Denthelin's Dancing X. We do well to check in with them before entering the city proper. Beyond that, our course is yours to set. Find me at your camp, huh? I can remember how to take orders, as well as give them.
Okay, so Jaheira is now going to be a permanently recruitable member of our group. She can now be a full party member, and she will be in our camp waiting for us.
I have something to ask.
I swear, I can already feel a change in the air. Like the curse itself knows its time is short. I can't say for certain, but we'll see it come to pass long before this place recedes behind us. Don't worry. All is at hand. We can depart whenever you're ready. I have. But perhaps there is more that I want. Anyway, once the curse is lifted, nature can take its course without me. I belong at your side. And I'm glad to be had. Glad to be with you, I mean.
Okay, so Halson's going to be permanently staying with us.
You did it. Ketheric Thorm is no more. The Shadow's grip is broken. Soon, the land shall heal. Not as glad as I am. Nature moves at its own pace, and bestows its bounty when it sees fit. Give it time. A reward shall come to you when you need it most.
Okay, so now let's talk to Withers.
A curse lifted. The dead three allied once more. The balance shifts. There are depths to this alliance yet unplumbed. Consider, mortal. Do Illithids possess souls? Correct. Yet, the three amass an Illithid army void of apostolic souls that could imbue them with power. A flock without souls, yet to what end, mortal? This is the question thou must come to answer. Until such time, be availed of my services. Where matters of balance are concerned, I am eternally cold. Yes, Bane, Lord of Darkness, Baal, Lord of Murder, Merkel, Lord of Bones. Once judged, ascended, then vanquished as one, and as three. The Alliance is reforged, mortal. The plains thus quake, and the gods shudder. No.
Okay, so we learned quite a bit there.
Don't waste a step.
Through all of our interactions, we'll head back out here.
Perhaps the Iron Hands could return here in the future.
And we have Wyrm.
You helped me escape this hellspit. Then took down the heart of Moonrise, Ketheric himself. Oh, I'm impressed. And I'm not a man easily impressed. Ah, not my finest exit. I hid out on the river until the sky lit up. Couldn't believe my eyes. Especially when I realized you were behind it. I underestimated you. Kept who I was and who I represent from you. But I see now that was a mistake. I am Wulbren Bongal, leader of the Iron Hand Gnomes. No doubt you've heard of us. We are inventors of the highest order, matched, perhaps, but never surpassed by the Gondians at the High House of Wonders. But our forebears were foolish, complicit with Saravok's madness over a century past. And so, we were banished. We still are to this day.
Okay, well, this is a reference all the way back in the day to previous Baldur's Gate games, where Saravok was the main bad guy. So it's always interesting to see a current game going back in time like this. Same thing with Jaheira, who was in a previous Baldur's Gate game as well.
The very one. It's the only mistake the Iron Hand Gnomes ever made. And it cost us everything. I have fought tooth and nail to restore our reputation. Particularly against the Gondian detractors who live in glass houses. I filled appeals, pleaded with the High Artificer himself. They've refused us time and again. Now, however, I will make them listen. Plenty. Find me in the city and help us save Baldur's Gate from itself.
Okay, there's probably some ulterior motives going on here with Wulbren that we're going to want to keep an eye on here. Oh, and I guess I missed a camp supply over here. So let's just check our inventories here real quick. I'm not going to be using this. I won't be using this anymore. Going to keep that for now. I'll keep that for now as well. Anybody else have any camp supplies? We can get rid of these alchemy ingredients. I think that should be it. Okay, so there's not a lot for us to do here because of the outcomes previously to us, but there would be a lot more people to talk to in this area if the Last Light Inn had survived. Okay, so now we're going to head over to the road to Baldur's Gate.
We leave the heart of the Absolute alive, thanks to you. You did well to defeat Ketheric. But Ketheric was only the first to fall. There are many more battles ahead, and they will not be so easily won. You will need allies. Jaheira's wisdom will be an asset to you on the journey ahead. Her harpers, too. Halsin's strength and loyalty will bolster you in times of need. But if we are to succeed, we will need others. Even if the buildings are demolished, there are always survivors. There are always those who will fight. Baldur's Gate may not know it yet, but its fate is bound to ours. seek on its streets those whose purpose aligns with our own, and invite them to our cause. Together, we will put an end to the Absolute, the Chosen, all.
Okay, that's a reference to a couple of things. One, we are not done with possibly recruiting party members. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but we are also not done recruiting people for the last battle. You have members who are full members available to be used in your party and fully controllable, and then you have people who are going to show up for the final fight to help you out. And those show up as just allies, or as followers in some certain instances. And we're going to be able to recruit more of both of those as we continue on through here.
Chosen race has been lifted from these lands. A necessary sacrifice to stop that traitor Thorn.
Okay, so now we're going to head across the bridge here.
The Absolute armies are on the march, and Baldur's Gate is their target.
And take the exit to Baldur's Gate.
Here we go.
Now, again, we are at a point of no return here.
The curse has been lifted, the lands cleansed of the shadows. Kethric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
Sergeant, if you are here, I presume Wyrm's Rock is secure, and preparations for my inauguration are complete.
No, Lord Gortash. We were interrupted. Another quake in the lower city. More severe this time.
So you came cowering to my chambers? I'm flattered, Sergeant. But even I cannot command natural phenomena to cease.
Forgive me, my lord, but there is panic in the streets. The people are afraid.
Perhaps the people would be calm if you kept your nerve. I expect better from the Flaming Fist than to run scared from a slight tremor in the earth. Get back to your duties.
Duties, duties, duties. Patrolling and saluting and following and bowing and scraping and yes sir, no sir, rip and cut your throat, sir. Your plan is falling apart, lordling. Give me a reason not to cut you to ribbons.
Control yourself, Orin. We need to focus on reuniting the stones or the brain will break free. These quakes are just the start. Neither of us expected the Prism bearers to kill Ketheric. They'll be traveling to the city. Let's make sure we give them a Baldurian welcome.
I itch to peel you, to split your skin, to see your skull shine in the light. Little tyrant. Lucky for you, I harvested a whole family of living flesh in Rivington at high sun. They will sate my blade thirst tonight. Oh,
But tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, my blades will thirst again.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence, one sleep away.
Okay, so some really cool cutscenes there, and now we are overlooking Baldur's Gate and Rivington and Wyrm's Crossing. And you can kind of see the scale of what this game really is. And what the city is like and all of that sort of stuff. It's really impressive what has been built here by Larian. So here we are up here at the top. We do have some camp supplies that we can pick up.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
And there's a little searching that we can do around here before we turn in for the evening. Whoops.
Something good here, I hope. Something's on my mind.
Friend, we are here for you. We will not cause you any trouble, friend. We will project a different form that will cloak us from all but your closest acquaintances. You and your friends shall see us as we truly are. All others shall see a kitty, a small predator, indigenous to this world. They kitties can walk anywhere, and they are most cunning. What absolute? The absolute does not care about us, and we do not care about the absolute. We are different, and we are saved. Friend, what absolute? The absolute does not care about us, and we do not care about the absolute. We are different, and we are saved. Friend!
So it looks like the cutscene is glitched. But yes, us can now travel with you as being disguised as a cat throughout the city itself. Inside the city itself of Baldur's Gate, cats are welcomed. Dogs are not.
Just another crate.
We'll talk to Jahira.
business to conclude before we march. Have it done. The road to Baldur's Gate is long, and the city needs us.
Okay, nothing new. Here we have more camp supplies. Potion of mind reading, always useful.
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
Okay, and we're just about done doing our searching. I forgot this. I don't think there's anything in here, actually. There's not. Now, Wyrm's Lookout is a special camp spot. You're not going to be able, you won't be coming back here to this location. And that's why we're able to find all of these things in crates and that sort of stuff that you wouldn't normally find in your normal camp spots. So let's talk to Will here.
Gods be damned. With that parasite in his brain, Father could wreak untold havoc in the Absolute's name. Should Baldur's Gate fall to the Absolute, every one of the coast cities will be ripe for the plucking. We're not just fighting for our cure. We're fighting for my father. We're fighting for the Gate. We're fighting for all of Faerun. Wyrm's Rock Fortress. All travelers to Baldur's Gate flow through it. It serves as headquarters for the Flaming Fist and their commander, my father. The Absolute's army's on the march. Gods forbid a tadpole Grand Duke throw open the gates for them. Orin, I'd never heard tell of, but Gortash I know. Or know of, more precisely. A self-styled strategic advisor to Baldur's Gate's peers. A bit player with dreams of a leading role, the way Father told it. He had no use for Gortash, and even less for his advice. I don't remember much beyond that. But where these Chosen are concerned, I have a suspicion we're about to know more than we'd like. Yes, but first a question. If your home were under siege, what would you sacrifice to save it? As would I, and more. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the cult of the dragon made its move.
The cult of the dragon, a fractured religion. Some believers hold that undead dragons will inherit the world. Others worship the dragon goddess Tiamat and intend to summon her to Faerun.
To conjure the Dragon Queen and lay waste to Baldur's Gate. A 10-day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were,
gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Will wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved, and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. The first of Tiamat's 5 heads. As the maelstrom howls, Mizora's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldur's Gate. Grant me your soul and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while 2 devils stood witness, and I said yes. 1 soul for 1 city. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel. Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Mizora's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. The moment I agreed, I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. You were right, of course. The new eye is a sending stone, courtesy of Mizora. She uses it to track my location and call from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world, or the depths of the lower dark, and still never shake her. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Mizora had swept it clean. I showed him my stone eye, but he only turned away. After, he said only one word: go. So I did. I understand. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst, and Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. More than you know. The better question is, did he ever miss me? If he did, he missed the Will Ravengard he once knew, not the hell-touched warlock he returned to.
Okay, so we're learning a lot more about what has happened in Will's past and how that ties in with what we're seeing right now going on in the city and in this adventure that we're on.
I'm listening.
Okay, nothing from Lae'zel.
Did you want something? If not, I'm perfectly happy to just gaze upon you a while.
Of course.
I suppose you've earned it. Thriving. Lady Shah's foes continue to fall, and she continues to honor me. but she wants me all to herself. What we share may be difficult to maintain.
Welcome, Rudy.
Fine. What's on your mind?
No notes. You've exceeded my every expectation. Considering all we've been through, I think I was very lucky to find such favorable company. And attractive company too, no less.
It's the tusks. Okay, we will head out this back way here. Scratch doesn't have a true doghouse, but we're getting closer.
Hope you're keeping well, friend.
Oakfather preserve you.
Okay, nothing new from Halson.
What's on your mind?
Nothing new from Gale. Starian wants to talk.
The gate is closed, as is Cazador. Cazador and his rite of profane ascension. An imperial soiree, attended by devils and spawn alike. A grand ceremony to honor one exalted vampiric master. And elevate him to an unfathomable station. To place him in a position of such esteem. The world will yearn to kneel and offer their necks. Of course I envy him. Why wouldn't I? The problem with what Cazador has done is that he did it to me. If the time comes and I can stay one move ahead of him, I'll take his place before his blood can hit the floor. What's a handful of the wretch's servants? If they're anything like me when I was enslaved, they're all but begging for death anyway. After 200 years of shit, pure shit! I think I deserve something better. We'll be glorious, both you and I. You'll have your day too. Let's find out more about the ritual before we waltz into Cazador's front door. If we track down my old comrades, the other spawn, we may discover more and be finally positioned for yours truly to ascend. My, you sweetheart. Then there isn't a moment to waste. If we don't find my brethren, they'll find us, likely with bared fangs. We should get to them first. Then we can make their pretty tongues talk. Unless Cazador's changed their orders, they'll be in the dens of this town, seeking prey.
Oh, good old Neil Newbon. There's a reason that he won a Game of the Year award. Okay, so nothing else down that way. Okay, well, we have a berry bush here. Get rid of all that additional weight.
How very delicious, but I will not bite you. Nice here. The caves smell like rotting meat. Goblin camp smells like goblins. Yes, fun. Ooh, more.
Okay, now before you head to bed here, you need to make sure that you have your party geared for a fight. So I would not go into this having swapped some people out and maybe leveled some people up and then thinking that you're just going to continue on. That is not what's going to happen here. So just make sure that your party is set and ready and everybody's geared appropriately before you go to bed.
The events of the last days weigh heavily upon you. Sleep's rest is slow to come to one whose mind is so full. The Absolute is not a god, but an elder brain controlled by the chosen of the Dead Three. They mean to use it to take control of the Sword Coast. All who carry the tadpole are governed by the brain, and by extension the chosen. It will take but one order to transform them into an army of mind flayers. This would have been your fate too, were it not for the Astral Prism, and the mysterious visitor inside of it. With her help, you have uncovered the cult for what it really is. A plan of conquest orchestrated by the gods of death themselves. Together, you have the power to thwart the Dead Three. If you follow this path to its end, the Elder Brain will not answer to the Chosen. It will answer to you. Will you liberate them from their parasites and their religious delusions? Or will you use the power you gain for your own purposes? You will not have long to wait. All you need to do now is sleep. But sleep is not for you.
Hear me. Gather. The reckoning is upon us. The city thirsts for domination. March. Join power.
You're under attack. Help me.
Okay, so you are going to be attacked in your sleep here by some Githyanki. Couple of things that are important here. These Githyanki are going to be quite high level, and you can see based upon their feature set that they're monks. So they have empowered strikes, they have an extra attack, they have evasion, which is going to let them dodge out of the way a lot easier. But they can also use unarmed strikes, death strikes, and deal additional bonus damage. They have a lot of additional things that they can do to you here, as well as monk abilities that allow them to push you long distances, to disable you, and all of that sort of stuff. So they are very dangerous opponents, and there are 3 of them. They all come through somewhat damaged. You have a portal here, and you can see over here, your only goal here is to escape to the portal before the Absolute takes control. The Absolute has sent out one of its domination signals so that people within its range who have tadpoles in them are going to immediately transform. into mind flayers. And what needs to happen is our only goal here is that we have 3 turns to get into that portal. Now, we don't have to do anything with these Githyanki. They are just here to delay us from getting to the portal. Every turn, a new Githyanki is going to spawn out of that portal. So there's a never-ending group of enemies here. And like I say, they have abilities that they can use to shove you away from that portal. And they are going to do that quite often. Okay? So since our only goal is to get to that portal, you see that you have your action economy back. You've taken a long rest. You can also see that you have a condition, her voice commanding, which means that you are going to take 1d6 psychic damage at the end of every turn. And you also have a -1 penalty to all of your spellcasting abilities. Right, now our goal here is simply to get out of here. We don't want to get into a fight with them. They're not carrying any gear that you can loot. So it doesn't make sense for us to be able to try and engage in combat. You can if you would like, it just doesn't serve any purpose at all. So for us, what we're going to do is going to seem a little odd in that we are going to dash using our action here. The reason for that is that Misty Step only gets us so far, and we need to be able to move the rest of the way to the portal.
Outmaneuver them.
And we're just going to interact with the portal. Avoid that fight entirely. Don't waste your action economy on it.
That thing's not going to hold together much longer.
Okay, I'm immediately gonna get rid of my group, and I'm going to jump down here as quick as I can to get into this fight. Okay, now what that allows me to do is, one, to preserve as many of the intellect devourers as we can. The intellect devourers aren't going to really be helping us other than acting as a distraction. Okay, if they are able to absorb some of the attacks from these monks, more power to them. That is one less chance we have of being knocked off of this into a chasm, or just beat up and disabled by these monks. Okay, so this also gives me the opportunity to bring my other party members into this fight as I see fit here.
I need you now.
So I'm gonna move up here, and I'm gonna try and again get myself into the center of things here. so that I'm not able to be bounced off of this cliff here. So this Gish is not threatened yet, which is kind of a pain.
The skull! Come to the skull!
I'm not going to use Luck of the Far Realms yet.
Help me!
Okay. So now as far as everybody else goes, you can see the detection cones here. So I'm immediately going to put Shadowheart into hiding.
Please, help me.
And again, try and get her into a spot where she's not going to be shoved very much. So I think putting her over here is fine. And I'm going to have her cast Darkness immediately here. Okay, now you can see the Gith, for all their monkishness, are not immune to being blinded.
At least things have stayed interesting. Don't want to draw any attention.
Hurry! I can't hold them back alone.
Okay, now this is just a preliminary fight. Okay, so I'm going to take my first attack here.
I need you now.
And end her.
Magic.
Now for Gale, I am starting over with my arcane ward here. This is as if I took a long rest. So I am 6 wizard, which means I have a max of 12 on my arcane ward. So and I'm going to use a level 3 spell slot to cast Armor of Agathis. Okay, that's going to get me up to 12 on my arcane ward, and this is going to be very important as we go through this, because they are going to want to focus on Gale. Monks love to go after spellcasters. And I want them to go after Gale. Okay, so Astarian's turn is done. The Intellect Devourers cannot be blinded either, which is good.
I won't give in.
Okay, now for me, I'm going to be on ice here, so there's a good chance that I could fall prone, so I'm going to stay back here. And for Shadowheart, I just want to make sure she's deep in the darkness. And now for Astarion, we'll just get ranged attacks off here. Now that the Gith is threatened, I should be able to add sneak attack damage. And he rolled a crit with an 18. And that ends that.
Come to the skull.
Okay, so now
Let's get going.
again, I'm going to come back and deal with all of this. The Dream Visitor wants us to head to the skull, which you can obviously see down here.
Come to the skull.
And that's what we're going to go do. We can make our way back to all of this, and we want to get down here again.
It's not over. Come
quickly.
to the skull.
Before you do anything, I am your ally. We are in danger.
A mind flare? What's going on here?
The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let my form deceive you. I am the one that's been protecting you. I am the one that came to you in your dreams. Help me. The Honor God. Eliminate them. My forces are weakened by their assault. But with your help, we can turn this around. Destroy the Guard. I will subdue their master.
Okay, now this whole encounter is best done with Lae'zel not in your party. Lae'zel obviously has some issues with mind flayers to begin with, and understandably. However, there are also some issues at conflict with the person that is being held captive here. And we're going to learn more about that a little bit later. There are some persuasions that you can do with Lae'zel to make this work out favorably. It's simply just easier to not have her in your party when you're doing this. This can end in a game over, depending upon what your choices are, and she does not make those choices easier on you to make.
Despite your best attempts to be subtle, the Mind Flayer's awareness is everywhere. You blunder in its presence like a walk pup learning to walk.
You must be joking. I am telling you my thoughts directly into your head. But If you insist on taking a look for yourself, be my
peaceful existence to date could have prepared you for this. As the horror subsides, you are left with only one coherent thought. You must do whatever you can to subdue the Githyanki.
Happy? Now, join me. Fight! Together, we can turn the tide.
Okay, and now you're going to be dropped into this fight, and there are 4 Githyanki here for you to deal with. There are 2 that are up here, and 2 that are down here. The prelate is the chief of their of the honor guard. The other 2 up here, one is Ember and one is Zephyr. That kind of gives you a hint about what their abilities are. Zephyr is a strong wind, so she is going to be fighting to try and push you around with her wind-based abilities, and can be very dangerous in trying to knock you off of edges and stuff like that. So play away from chasms. The other one here is Ember, which means he's going to be fighting with fire, and he has a version of Scorching Ray that can cause a lot of damage as well. However, remember that Scorching Ray is a ranged attack spell, which does not work into darkness. Sitting up here at the front is Orpheus. Now, we have learned about Orpheus from the slates as being the Prince of the Comet. And like I say, this is now, if Lae'zel's in your party, becomes somewhat of a turning point here in her belief about whether Vlaakith is the rightful queen or whether Orpheus is the rightful heir to the Githyanki throne. So we're going to learn a lot more about Orpheus, but in this, Orpheus isn't going to play any part other than the fact that he's giving out Orphic Favor, which is they are resistant to psychic damage and have a +3 bonus to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Since they're all monks, they're going to have a high wisdom and a high dexterity anyway, so they're going to be gaining a lot of bonuses. So trying to mind control them or Tasha's hideous laughter them or something like that is probably not going to work at all. Okay, so keep all of that in mind. Astarion is the first to go here in our order, and we are going to keep everybody together for now. And that's because the Gith are going to be going next. So, yes, we're going to keep everybody together, and we're just going to have Astarion execute ranged attacks here, and we're going to focus on the prelate. It is threatened, so we will be getting sneak attack damage on this. And we're going to use Luck of the Far Realms here. Add crit sneak attack damage to it. Missed an 88%er. Okay. Rolled a 4. And rolled a 3. Nice. And now we're going to move Astarion over here to this side. Again, we have a chasm right here that you're always going to start next to. And they're going to be moving toward you. Okay, I rolled a 20. I'm going to throw improved warding flare here. Good deal. I don't really care about the intellect devourers. There is his Scorching Ray attack. You can see how much damage that does.
Destroy the honor guard.
Okay, so I would have preferred if he'd have stunned the Zephyr. You can see her pushing attack. Alright, so now it's my turn.
What should I do?
And the first thing that I'm going to do is check and see where my movement gets me, which is about down to here. I'm going to throw a darkness down. And then I'm going to move everybody into it. I'm going to take an attack of opportunity here. And I'm going to pop up Spiritual Weapon. And hopefully that will distract the Ember Gish here. Okay, now for Gale, I'm going to move by the Prelate. And I want to... I should have done this with Gale first. I wanted to invoke an attack of opportunity with Gale. So that's a mistake on my part. Because it's not going to have an attack of opportunity again. I'm going to throw Attack of the Far... or Luck of the Far Realms. And I'm going to drop a Divine Smite. Perfect. Now, while I'm here, can I get a ranged attack up here? I can. And I'm going to move into the darkness.
Lies before me. Let me recite their demise.
Now, Gale...
Look to Queen 6.
I'm within range. I am. Oh, that was perfect. That was a good landed hit. I didn't expect that to actually land. And I want to take Gale into the darkness over here. Keep him away from the chasms here. And Shadowheart's done. And now Astarion can move up. Again, this Gish is threatened. Not really worried about the Emperor. Yeah, he's got 140 hit points. I'm not too worried about him. That almost never works. I don't know why he ever tries to cast it. There is she. That will not knock him off. Okay, so now I'm going to put myself more into the depths here. And he's chilled. which means he is vulnerable to cold damage. I'm gonna throw another one here. Oh. These high percentages that I am just not making.
Survival is all that matters.
That's quite a ways. Now, I'll be able to make it work. Let's...
Unleash me.
That's going to take almost all of my movement. I could... Misty step back. Okay, so I've just got to get to there. Now, if I move away, I'm not close enough yet. Okay, so he doesn't have any actions left. Okay, so I'm just gonna Misty step back in here to protect Gale.
Go from here. Cut it to the chase.
Come on. You, and now I'll move back in here.
I'm ready.
14 hit points left.
No mercy.
Okay. Can't make it over there. See, I know I can make it down from there. And now it's if I can get ranged attacks here. Quite a ways away. Let's move out here. I've got plenty of movement with the Starian. Actually, I don't. Okay, that gets rid of her deflect missiles. Wow. I would prefer if you stun her, or you can tentacle whip her. Okay, and this is what happens when she can attack you. Oh, jeez. How many of these 75 and 80%ers am I going to miss?
Everything.
There we go.
Ready.
Not going to do anything spectacular here. I'm not going to move out of my darkness with Shadowheart. Okay, now with the Starian, I should be able to move out a little bit. If I get lucky, the Mind Flayer will end this.
Quickly.
Perfect.
Thank you. That was too close. Don't look at me like that. I am a Mind Flayer. Yes. Without me, you would be a slave to the Absolute.
Of all the things to be indebted to, a bloody mind flayer.
You may call me the Emperor. An adventurer. I came from Baldur's Gate, though I was never one to be constrained by circumstance. I longed for more. That longing brought me to Moonrise Towers on a search for treasure. To a colony of mind flayers who caught me, changed me into what I am now. For years, I served the Elder Brain, the one you know as the Absolute. I was a thrall like any other, but I was fortunate. I broke free and started a new life in my own city. I sustained myself on criminals. Unglamorous, but there are plenty of them, rarely missed. And they fueled me while I did my work. I had the good fortune to meet Duke Stelmane. We formed a partnership, and through her, I became the governing force behind the Knights of the Shield, the largest mercantile operation in Baldur's Gate. People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence, though of course they had no idea what I really was. My needs were sated. I was happy for a while, until my true nature was discovered by the tyrant himself, Lord Gortash. He tore me from my home and brought me back to the Brain, where I became a slave once again. A slave he continued to call the Emperor. The name was intended as a slight, to remind me of the heights from which I fell. But I have grown fond of it. It encapsulates well who I've become. We fought to tame Prince Orpheus, the son of Gith herself. His power has been the source of your continued protection against the voice of the Absolute. The power to disrupt hive mind communication. It is the same power that enabled Orpheus' mother to bring about the fall of the Illithid Empire eons ago. A power she passed on to him, and that I leveraged for you. When Orpheus' mother left, a usurper took her place. Blackith declared herself Queen of the Githyanki. Blackith wanted his power, but Orpheus rose against her, and so she sealed him and his honor guard within this prison. Bound by infernal chains, Orpheus could never leave. Bound by duty, his guard never would. They were close to breaking my hold on that prince. And if they had succeeded, we would be lost. I am relieved. You have embraced your potential enough that you could help me eliminate them. Alone, Orpheus will be much easier to control. A very good question. One that I have been unable to answer. That Orpheus lives at all is ruinous to Blackith. She has done everything in her power to keep his existence a secret. That Gortash and the Chosen found out about it. This is impossible to explain. But it was important enough to them that Gortash sent me to retrieve it. The moment I found it, I felt a change. My free will returning. I followed the feeling inside, and found Orpheus. I realized what the Prism was for. Containment. While my body was within the Prism's bounds, my mind was free. I could resist the Elder Brain, the Chosen. Better yet, I could plan to overthrow them. All I needed to do was subdue Orpheus and find allies in the outer world. You. That would be a terrible idea. The moment he is free, he will attack you. Your only defense would be to kill him. And in so doing, he would doom us both.
Even though he is subdued, you feel Orpheus's revulsion. A pulsing hatred that cannot be contained. The Emperor is telling the truth. To him, you are just another wretched illithid.
You carry a tadpole. As far as Orpheus is concerned, you are already a Lithid, a sworn enemy, just like me. I appreciate that, but this is what I am. My original body was destroyed when I transformed. When I first escaped the Elder Brain, I searched for a new vessel, but the longer I inhabited this one, the more it grew on me. I realized that returning to my former self would only impose limitations. Any advantage I could gain by restoring my original appearance, I already had to hand in the form of magic, and that humanoid shape you've come to know. As an Illithid, I have far surpassed who I ever was before. You, too, should embrace this change. Like it or not, our chances of defeating the Elder Brain are substantially improved if you embrace your latent Illithid potential. I've been studying you for a while now. I believe I can trigger the next stage of your tadpole's life cycle, while continuing to preserve your independence. You have seen what I can do. Imagine yourself with the same strength, the same intelligence, the same devastating beauty. If you let me, I can evolve you. You will be able to do things you never thought were possible. There will be physical alterations, of course, but only partial. You will retain most of your current form, and you will soon see that the benefits outweigh any perceived loss. The answer is twofold. One, I can, but it would kill you, as I told you before. Two, why would I? You have done well with the limited form you have, but you would do far better as an Illithid. So, do you wish to evolve or not?
Okay, now here's your choice. Now, the downside of this, evolving, quote-unquote, is not really a whole lot of physical change. You will start to see, or you will see the very first beginnings of the darkness around the eyes and the veins and that sort of stuff that you may have seen in a few other YouTube videos by other creators and that sort of stuff. But this will allow you to access the outer ring of tadpole powers, which is arguably the most power creep portion of the Illithid powers. They allow you to do some amazing things once you have leveled up your powers enough to select them. So there isn't really much of a downside. The game wants you to do it. However, it's going to do it to you, whoever you're talking to. Okay? If you say, no way, you're going to get a wisdom option where you can avoid being evolved. And what that really does is if you pass it. It's a really hard DC. I think it's a 21 DC wisdom save. If you pass it, the Mind Flayer will give you an astral tadpole. And that is an astral tadpole that you can give to any of your other companions and allow them to partially evolve instead of you. Which arguably can be, for that first tadpole power, can be more useful to have it on somebody else, depending upon which powers you're going to focus on. For us, like I say, the chances of me passing it are so small anyway, because I'd have to roll a nat 20 for it to hit. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to take the I'd like to evolve option here. But feel free to explore that if you'd like, especially if you're save scumming and you want to roll it over and over and over again till you get a nat 20.
Well, certainly brave of you. I'll say that much.
You continue to surprise me. Your mind is truly something special. Now, hold out your hand.
You have another chance to roll for it here.
It wants to evolve, but it cannot do so alone. It must commune with another.
And here's that wisdom roll. That's going to be a 21 DC.
The tadpole screams for growth with painful intensity. It has been starved of life, of purpose. It welcomes your probing like a void waiting to be filled. If you let it, it will evolve you, just as the Emperor said.
A tadpole, nurtured by the psionic energy of the astral plane, cocooned here for millennia. It has become extraordinary.
Okay, so either one of these do the exact same thing, and wisdom gives you that opportunity to do it. Again, I guess technically I'd have to roll a 17 to a 20, and hope I get a 4 or something out of guidance to do it. You could also add guidance with Gale in my situation, and Fox's Cunning advantage, or, I mean, Owl's Wisdom to gain advantage on that roll. Still, the chances are so small, I don't need to do it.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
You are exquisite. When your allies see what you can do, I hope you encourage them to try it for themselves. But we mustn't lose focus. We need to resume our journey. You heard the Chosen. The brain has gone to the city, and the army marches to follow. We must not let them reach it. We must find the brain, and bring it under our control.
Okay. So, now if we look at our tadpole powers here, you can see that we are partial illithid. And you can see that this outer ring has now become unlocked, whereas with Astarian, they're locked.
Let's move.
Okay. once this ring is unlocked, you can use your tadpoles to open up those abilities. And one thing that you get out of this is fly as an action. Now, here you see it. We gained a couple of actions here. We gained transfuse health because it gave us everything in this first ring. And then it gave us fly. So now we can fly as a class action 18 meters wherever we want to go. Fly is an amazing ability to be able to maneuver yourself around the battlefield. Okay. So it also has opened up everything else in that middle ring here that we didn't previously have. So we do have some additional things that have popped up, and I'm quickly going to have to get another... I can't. Because of all the stuff that I have here, I'm running out of space. But now you're able to use your tadpoles to unlock other things, and that includes the black hole ability, which can be very, very useful. Mind Sanctuary is also very good. Free cast is a passive feature. So spell slots charges a similar resource cost for your next action or spell are removed. This allows you to cast any spell or do anything with any action for free and not have a cost with it. I mean, some of these things are incredibly useful for you to have. Okay? So it's not like... And the only thing that happens to you is you can start to see all the veins and all that sort of stuff. You can't actually see it. Yeah, you can see it here just barely. But that's the only thing that really is the outward of it. It's not like you're going to turn into an illithid yet. Okay? So... where we are now, and that's interesting. Oh. It might be because of this. Yes, it is. It's because of that gravity. I'm going to go around with... I was wondering why I had like 480 pounds of carry weight. It's because of the low gravity here. I'm going to go around with Shadowheart and do all of the looting here. Again, you're not going to find things on the Githyanki.
I should take that.
Void bulbs are always useless. They're like throwable black holes. Okay, this one's going to have some potions. And yes, we're going to get more into, like M said, we're going to get more into the illithid powers a little bit later. We're just not going to spend a whole lot of... I could spend the next hour explaining them. And I'm not going to yet. We'll find a time to be able to do that. The prelate here is going to have Boots of Uninhibited Kushigo, which for your monk classes are another one of those OP items. It allows you to add your wisdom modifier to your unarmed strikes, whereas you're already adding your wisdom modifier to unarmed strikes through some other things, and those stack. So monks are open hand monks are OP. That's just the only way to say it. Scroll of Greater Invisibility is awesome. There's another Divine Bone Shard over here, which is good, because we were missing one. Okay. Sorry, had to cough there. And now you can start looking at your map and seeing what other locations you might not have been to or you might have access to as you work your way toward the back. We're going to want to come back up here to exit through the portal. But now we have some time. And you want to keep an eye, like I say, on your map to see where you can and cannot get to. Okay, you see there's another area up here. And another Divine Bone Shard. In case, I'll take a look at these in case y'all don't remember them from the last time that we were here. The Divine Bone Shards gives you an elixir. You can craft an elixir of universal resistance, which is exactly what it sounds like. You become resistant to all forms of damage. So there aren't that many of these Divine Bone Shards around, but can be very, very useful when it lasts for a long rest, and especially when you're going into that final set of fights. Can be very, very useful. Okay, so nothing over here. I don't believe. Yeah. Okay, another slate about Orpheus. And I didn't say hello, Em. Thanks for being here, as well as Ostamura. Welcome. And another Divine Bone Shard. So this is why you go through this area and you start searching for all of this, because it can lead you to get some very, very valuable crafting supplies that can be extraordinarily useful later on in the game. All of these are craftable for elixirs of psychic resistance, which again in the final battle, extraordinarily useful. Okay, and then looking around and looking at your map, nothing else out there. And now you should recognize where we are. This is back where the first fight happened. Okay, and then we have 2 more places to go look at. And again, all of this stuff that I'm picking up here is just going to be sold. There's a lot of merchants here in Act 3, and the more items you have to be able to sell, the more you can get your gold back as you increase as you give them gold to increase their attitude towards you and make the prices better. So that's the reason behind picking all this stuff up. Potion of gaseous form is interesting. Okay, and we do want to get here. I'm gonna have to go back over there. I forgot about this platform in the middle here. Okay, and last you can see that there's this little platform back here that has a gilded chest on it. Some more potions and gold here. And that's all you can explore here in the astral plane. So now you can make your way back. And now we will head out through the portal. Oh, actually, we didn't explore a couple of things back here. Looks like there's some other stuff here.
What's next? Mine as well.
Two figures, one an imposing female with a regal aspect, the other a devil, his face twisted with wry charm. Their hands meet in the exchange of an artifact, the Astral Prism. So, who gave... Well, I'm going to leave that up. We're going to learn more about that, actually, later on. Oh, I wanted to give you a spoiler so bad there. But you know who the devil is, right? Who's been behind so many things behind the scene, manipulating things to go the way he wants. You know who that devil is. Okay, so now you are back here into Wyrm's Lookout. You can see that all of that looting left Shadowheart encumbered. And we did receive the Astral Prism back. Okay, you can see that she's overloaded, so I will take and distribute a little bit of this just quickly.
All right, what now?
Okay. And now the dead Githyanki that are here, again, like I said earlier, these are the three that we bypassed. They are now dead. But they don't have anything on their bodies. And that's the same thing as if you killed them yourselves, or if you let more spawn from the portal, you're not going to be able to get anything from them.
One day I'll catch a break.
So now you actually take your long rest. And now you are back to as if you had originally just taken your long rest. So that first time you go to bed, you get the effects of a long rest just to prep you for the fight that you're going to encounter. And then after that, you click go to bed and it gives you your actual long rest. So now we're going to go talk to Lae'zel.
I need a moment for the two of us.
Your parasite communes with Lae'zel's. Her heart races as she learns of the events inside the Astral Prism.
Orpheus, Gith's only son. He lives. It is not the Geich visitor that Vlaakith would destroy and Voss would set free. It is Orpheus, the blood of the mother, the prince of the comet. Listen close. The Emperor spoke only in half-truths. For you to know the tale of Orpheus, you must know the tale of Gith and of Vlaakith. Long ago, when we rose up against our Geich slavers, Mother Gith made for the Hells to secure an alliance with the archdevil Tiamat. Tiamat gifted the Githyanki our red dragons. Gith remained in the Hells, and Tiamat's envoy proclaimed Vlaakith our ruler. The first Vlaakith of many. It is Vlaakith 157 whom my people now call Queen. Orpheus is Gith's only son. He led his mother's own honor guard in a coup against Vlaakith I. It was Kithrak Voss himself who slayed the prince in vicious battle, or so the Varshis teach us. Yet the Prince of the Comet's been with us, subdued by that repugnant Illithid. Should Orpheus go free, he would tear Vlaakith's empire to pieces and build new glory from the scraps. The seed and the sower. Every word Voss spoke, he spoke true. Orpheus is the living proof of the Queen's lies, and the living weapon that conquered our Geich slavers. One word from his lips, and the people would doubt. 2 words, and they would rage. 3 words, and they would bow to the true heir. If the Githyanki are to be free, the Prince of the Comet must lead the way.
Now, just like convincing your party members to take the regular tadpole, you have to convince them to avail themselves of the astral touched tadpoles as well. Okay, they are not going to want to do it on their own, and they're all going to be somewhat more or less resistant to accepting that power. But these are the conversation items to be able to try and convince them to do it.
What about him? The historical slates describe Orpheus as a fearsome, terrible creature, powerful beyond measure, and enthralled by the Geich. So mad with power, he'd smash through the Githyanki Empire and deliver the shards to his Illithid masters. And glowing with such psionic force that he and his red dragon blazed a trail through the skies. A lethal comet careening towards my people. Lies, of course. Vlaakith spread a false image of Orpheus as monstrous betrayer, and her knights as the butchers who sliced him through. She was right to fear him, I'll grant her that. So great is the comet, it could shatter her reign. The Emperor may be loathsome, but it's right. Orpheus can disrupt a Geich hive mind. A talent like that makes the prince a powerful shield and a powerful weapon. Why destroy a weapon like that when you can contain it in a relic and keep it for yourself? A weapon is only an asset for as long as it isn't pointed at you. The means of Vlaakith's own end has been ripped away from her. Better to have Orpheus killed than to risk his escape. Better to risk the rise of Illithids than let the Prince of the Comet deny her the godhood she craves.
So there you go. Now you get the answer to the spoiler I was going to give you. Rather than kill Orpheus, Vlaakith imprisoned him, and she did that with the help of Raphael to imprison him inside the Astral Prism. now that the Astral Prism has been stolen by Shadowheart from the Githyanki, she's now just interested in killing Orpheus, or in getting rid of the Astral, rather than letting it fall into somebody else's hands, like it is with us. So you can see Raphael, for millennia, has had his hands in every aspect of what is happening to us here.
Orpheus is honor guard, loyal to the end. Trapped by Vlaakith in the same prism holding their noble prince, fruitlessly hacking at the sphere that contains him. They see us as Geich, tadpoled husks in the Emperor's thrall. I regret their deaths, but I pledge to live as they perished, in the service of Gith's son. Very well.
Okay, and we're going to hold off on these conversations until a little later. So, we now have a new main quest item, which is to confront the Elder Brain, either to control or to destroy. Okay. So we also have gather more allies, and this is going to become more as we go. So Volo has become a most loyal ally. Halsin is here. We also have Jaheira, where there's also going to be another companion for us to recruit. Help Kithrak Voss. We now learned that Voss is waiting for us at Sharess's Caress. And free Orpheus is now a quest option here for us. Okay, so things have gotten interesting.
By Baldur's bones, this is a lot to take in. Let's see if I've got this right. 1, we've been carrying a mind flayer around with us this whole time. 2, it's been appearing as someone else in our dreams, cajoling us to embrace our new illithid talents. 3, the mind flayer's been siphoning a Githyanki prisoner's powers to shield us from the Absolute's voice. Did I miss anything? Ah, yes. Gith's only son. Locked away in his astral prison for defying Vlaakith. Sensational tales, aren't they? Almost unbelievable. With a narrator so unreliable, how do we tell fact from fiction? I can't pretend I have the answer, but I know the Illithid's right about one thing. It holds our fates in its talons. Until the Absolute falls, there's no getting rid of it.
Okay, and again, everybody's going to have these options here.
So, there's been a mind flayer inside the artifact, or astral prism, the whole time we've had it. Sounds like utter madness, even though I've seen it with my own eyes. The more I learn, the less I understand just why I was sent to retrieve that thing. But it matters little now. Lady Shah has given me a new mission, and the prism plays no part in it. In fact, it seems like the Mother Superior's concern alone, and she has strayed from the Dark Lady. She will be in for a rude awakening when I finally stand before her again. But I digress. Did you want something?
Her outfit is just the coolest looking outfit in the world here. So, again. And she's got some fire to her now. She's a little bit upset about things happening with the Sharan Church. That she is now Shar's avatar on the material plane for.
If you have business to conclude before we march, have it done. The road to Baldur's Gate is long, and the city needs us.
Now, before we talk to Scratch...
Oh, I have the magic touch.
Oh, yes.
I've got a long road ahead.
Sorry, in this playthrough... I need that.
Moving in. I want to have a word.
The dog is unable to speak through the small bag he holds in his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. All I know is I thought of you when I saw it.
Okay, so Scratch is bringing us some more high-priced items now. Nice.
So, we owe our lack of tentacles to one of the very creatures that kidnapped us. At least my lack of tentacles. I'm not sure what's next for you.
Oh, quite a rug pull, eh? A mind flayer manipulating us this whole time. Such creatures are not to be trusted as a general rule, though this one does appear to have had a significant hand in our survival up to this point. At best, an ally whose motivations remain shrouded in deceit. We should be wary of what such an alliance may cost us.
Okay. We're not going to need those for now, and like I say, I've been storing up my Illithid powers for a bit. We are going to have to start delving into those more as we get more into the next act.
When I first met you, saving yourself from ceremorphosis was your greatest wish. And yet now, you've stepped closer to embracing it. I trust your leadership and respect your decisions, but I truly hope this is not something we come to regret.
Yes, Ostomer, I did. I mentioned that at the start in the admin notes. Okay, so now let's leave camp. If you look at your map, you don't have any option except to leave camp. All of your Act 2 waypoints are now gone. So you cannot venture back to anything that you have seen previously. And once you leave camp, we are officially in Act 3. Welcome, everyone.
We must find where Gortash and Orin have established themselves and take their nether stones.
Okay, so let's do our standard
Excellent choice.
buff up stuff here. And then we'll cast Armor of Agathis from the Cold Bite Robe, and that should bring us up to 12.
Trust no one. Watch your back.
Looking ahead.
Salutations.
Change out one of those. He's still got the hammer on his back. Okay, and then we will have Astarian.
Keep a blade close.
Longstrider on everybody. Okay, and now we should be
Seek and you shall find
back where we needed to be. Yes.
These things have stayed interesting.
Okay, so now we will progress down here, pick up a couple of things.
Lady Shah will be watching, no doubt, waiting for my return.
Okay, the city is close. The followers of Shar
What they know could help us.
are going to be watching. So again, we entered Wyrm's Crossing of the outer city. Sharess's Caress should be nearby. We know that we need to get Gortash and Orange Stones. And we've progressed a few things here. So we've arrived in Wyrm's Crossing. There are going to be lookouts. Will be present in the city here. So Will says we should keep an eye out for Mazora here in Wyrm's Crossing. Lae'zel wants to speak with Kithrak Voss. And Astarion wants to look for other spawn here in taverns. And Find a Cure is now complete. Help your protectors complete. Lift the Shadow Curse. Embrace your potential and discover the history of Orpheus are now complete. So now we're going to move down here a little bit and take some quick looking around. We're also going to pick up that backpack. Okay, we're going to have Shadowheart.
No, never mind.
There's a dirt mound. Actually, Em, I responded to your comment earlier this morning. I'm actually going to have Shadowheart in my party.
If not over.
Specifically when I go do that. And we will explain it when we get down there. So now we have discovered a waypoint, and this is Rivington. Rivington is incredibly famous.
Excuse me. I can't find my mum. She was sick. She had spots on her face and hands. She went to go get some herbs, and she was supposed to come back the same day. That was last 10-day, though. Oh, thank you so much. I don't have anything, and you can't do anything without any coin. I'll pay you back when I find my mum.
Yenna is going to have a part to play in all of this. And we can talk to Grub.
I need a quick word.
I'm just a cat. Please, talk to Yenna. I don't like talking. Nothing good, I don't think. She was so very sick. Maybe she made like a cat and went off to spend her last life. Please don't. Yenna is my best friend. She's kind. Help her, not me.
So again, speak with animals. If you don't have it active all the time, there's just so much flavor that you're going to miss out on throughout here. Now, what to do in Rivington. There are a bunch of things to do in Rivington here. What we are going to do first, however, is head over to this location. Now, like M said, 99% of you who play this game do not want to have Shadowheart in your party when you approach this area. Because 99% of you are going to have played this where Shadowheart betrayed Shar and has turned towards Selûne. And these lookouts are going to be looking out for the betrayer, so to speak. So you do not want to have Shadowheart with your party, because if this lookout sees her, they are going to talk to you and then disappear entirely, and you're not going to have any other interaction with them. And for one particular race and one particular class with a very particular build to that class, this vendor sells the most OP item in the game. Now, it's not one that I'm going to be exploring in this playthrough, but this thing breaks the game for a very specific build. So we'll go over there right now just to get this knocked out of the way. And anybody who's got a name, if it just says refugee or citizen, you can't talk to them. Anybody else with a name, you probably do want to talk to at some point, because there's probably valuable information to be gleaned or quests to be had. And you can see that there's some earthquakes happening.
I'm not paid to debate with civilians.
No, we pay taxes for you to protect us, not these intruders.
I'm paid to take down troublemakers, so don't make trouble.
Ferg Droger right here is who we are going to talk to.
Young lady, Shadowheart, a word if you will.
Once you get close, he will call out to you.
Whatever comes, I'm ready. No harm in a little conversation.
What a sight for sore eyes. I believe there's somewhere you're supposed to be. No? Long overdue, in fact.
Do I know you?
No, but I know you. I was told to keep watch for you and point you towards home should you ever appear. And lo, you have appeared.
Mother Superior sent you. Go on then. Where do I go?
So close to home, and yet you need a guiding hand. Amazing how malleable, or fragile, the mind can be. First, you need to continue onwards into the lower city. Then, seek out a place called the House of Grief. It may not be quite what you expect, but I assure you, it's the right spot. Go there, make yourself known. You will be given the welcome you deserve.
Can't you show me yourself?
Oh, no. I must remain here. In truth, I'm glad to keep my distance for now. There's been some tension in the ranks. Seems a great deal is riding on the outcome of your mission. Besides, I have business to attend to, wares to sell. Our great endeavor cannot run on faith alone. We need funds. Have a look, if you wish. Otherwise, I think we're done. Try not to dawdle too much in the city. Mother's waiting.
Tell me one thing. Is there someone called Renald there? A tiefling boy, or possibly a man now?
Renald! Now there's a name I haven't heard in some time. But not for me to spoil what Lady Shar would keep hidden from you, hmm? Best if you look for yourself. If you're looking for companionship, I hear they can cater to almost every taste in Sharess's caress. I am not on offer, unfortunately.
Okay, now, two things happened there. First, we got a favorable introduction to Ferg. Normally, if you come up here and Shadowheart is in your party and you have sided against Shar, he will let you know that you need to head to the House of Grief, and then he will turn and walk away. You will not get a chance to buy anything from him at all. If Shadowheart is not in your party, you can have a conversation to him where he will mention that he's selling wares. You can look at his wares, but you also have a persuasion opportunity to persuade him to show you his secret wares. If you fail that persuasion check, you don't get access to another set of gear in there. Okay. Now, with the other thing that happened during that was that Shadowheart asked about somebody called Reynald. Now, this goes way back to Act 2 way back to Act 1. In the Underdark, remember, we had Shadowheart eat the noble stalk. And that gave her a glimpse of some stuff in her past. And that's going to open up another subquest to her companion quests as we go. You will only get that conversation if she consumed the noble stalk. So now we can look at his wares. There are 6 items right here. Okay. Now, out of those 6 items, the first 3 are always available. The last 3 are only available if you pass the persuasion check, or if Shadowheart has sided with Shar. Okay? So, that's why some of these items here, if you have Shadowheart with you, like Em said, you want to leave her behind. You want to not have her with you. Now, it is possible to break your group or to separate her from the group and leave her way back at the start, back there, so that she's nowhere near you when you go into this conversation. It's just safer just to have somebody else in the party or just do this as 3 people until you have this, if you want to buy these items. So, the first thing is Cold Snap. Now, offhand only, so when this is in your offhand, it's any creature that misses you with an attack must succeed a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or be chilled for 2 turns. Now, we've learned about chilled from Gale. That makes you vulnerable to cold damage. It also gives you armor class +1. Straight up, just +1 to your armor class, which as a weapon is incredibly rare to have. So Cold Snap is definitely something that you want to pick up. The Hellrider Longbow gives you heightened awareness, so you gain a +3 bonus to initiative rolls and advantage on perception ability checks, which includes all that walking around for traps and that sort of stuff. Fiendish Fire, once per turn, when you hit a creature with this, they can possibly be hit with Fairy Fire, which gives all of your attacks, anybody's attacks against it, give advantage, and it's a +1 longbow. Now, this is incredibly useful, again, for a weapon, to be able to give you the +3 bonus to initiative rolls, and a weapon that you can keep on your back at all times, and still get that bonus can be incredibly useful. So something else you definitely want to look at. The last 3 here are more interesting. So the first is Sethin. Now this is, again, one of the rarer weapons to find. It is a 2-handed +2 great axe. Ignore the 1d4 necrotic damage. Hey Dave, welcome. Thanks for being here. Ignore the 1d4 necrotic. That's from equipment that Shadowheart is wearing right now. But it is a 2-handed great axe, and it's +2. It comes with 2 spells that you can cast. The first is Sethin's Spiritual Great Axe. Now, once per long rest, you can summon a great axe, which is the equivalent of your spiritual weapons that Shadowheart can summon, but this does 3d8 plus 4 force damage when you suffer it, or when you summon it. So it's an incredibly powerful version of that spell, being that it's level 6. The second is Sethin Reduce. And this is a spell that you can cast to make a creature smaller. That means its weapons deal less damage. It also has disadvantage on strength checks and saving throws. And that can be incredibly useful for you to take a normal-sized, powerful monster that you can't pick up and throw, reduce it, have your Tavern Brawler Barbarian or somebody else with high strength go up, pick it up, and throw it off of a cliff, or throw it into a chasm, and you can very quickly end things. This is your Enlarge Reduce spell in the form of a free cast on Sethin. Now again, if you're going two-handed or something like that, it can be a very useful weapon to have. For me, it's not going to be as useful. I'm not planning to do anything like that. But again, an interesting weapon. The Robe of Supreme Defenses. While concentrating, you add your spellcasting ability modifier to your saving throws, and you gain a +1 bonus to armor class. So first, it's going to give you a straight-up bonus to armor class, but adding your spellcasting ability modifier to your saving throws, normally if you're putting this on one of your casters, you're going to have a +3, possibly +4 at the very least, addition to your saving throws. Then if you have something like you've taken Sorcerer, where you have proficiency in your Constitution saving throws, then you can, or you have advantage on those, no, it's proficiency in those saving throws, then your saving throws to maintain your concentration go through the roof, and it's almost impossible to make you break your concentration. And that's what this robe is meant to do. Last is the Nymph Cloak. It allows you to cast Dominate Person as a level 5 spell. Basically makes any humanoid creature your ally and fight alongside you for up to 10 turns. Now, every time it takes damage, it's going to make a Wisdom saving throw to break out of that domination. The last item that I skipped over is just broken. Okay? It's in the game, it's not a cheat, but it's broken. And that's the Dwarven Thrower. So, the Dwarven Thrower by itself, as being a +2 Warhammer, would make it nothing really special. However, two things make this weapon stand out. The first is homing weapon. This is not the first time we've seen a homing weapon, but these are fairly rare in the game up to this point. When you throw it, it returns to your owner, so you don't have to go chase it down. Previous to this, if you had like a Tavern Brawler Barbarian or something like that, that was using thrown objects or something like that, you had to have something to throw. Here, the Dwarven Thrower can be thrown and it returns to you every turn. So you get it back after every attack that you use it with. But what breaks this thing is the Dwarven Thrower trait. A dwarf, so you have to be the racial dwarf, throwing this Warhammer deals an extra 1d8 bludgeoning damage. There are almost no weapons in this game that deal an additional 1d8 of any type of damage when you hit with it. 1d6 additional damage is very rare to have. 1d4 is most common. This adds 1d8. Then, if the target is large, huge, or gargantuan in size, the strike deals an additional 2d8. There's nothing that does something like that, because that's just a massive amount of damage. That if you are a dwarf that is throwing this, you're going to get the 1d10 if you're throwing it with two hands, or 1d8 single-handed, plus 3d8 additional bludgeoning damage if you're against a large, huge, or gargantuan creature. Once you add on the fact that you can add the enraged throw ability from the barbarian class, which lets you throw an object as a bonus action. You add in the extra attack that they get, and you add in the Tavern Brawler feat, which lets you add your strength modifier onto the damage twice. This thing is stupid. This damage turns into something like 16 to 59 or something like that. It's stupid. There is nothing that comes close to it, but you have to have, and you can attack with it up to 3, possibly 5 times with haste in a single turn. I mean, there's just not a whole lot that can stand up to that. So if you are looking for that particular type of build, the Dwarven Barbarian with the Tavern Brawler feat, this is the time when you buy this weapon and you respec into it. Up to now, it's been fairly gimped, and you're just playing a regular Barbarian, two-handed dual wield, two-handed wielding or something like that. Here's where you respec your Dwarven Barbarian to be a Tavern Brawler Barbarian so that you can take advantage of the Dwarven Thrower. Because this thing, I encourage you to go look at some other content creators' videos about this and how a build can just break things. I mean, you are literally talking 300 to 350 damage in a turn as a maximum. And that's just crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. So this is what you want to talk to Ferg about, and this is why you leave Shadowheart out of your party, so that you have the opportunity to buy this thing. Now, everything here is horrifically expensive. Okay, we're going to leave out of this trade. He's going to stay here. We're going to go back in.
I took you for one of them for a moment. The refugees, that is. You're a recent arrival for sure, still bearing dust from the road. But you have something they lack. Dignity. These wretches have nowhere to call home, nothing to live off but what they carry, and nobody to help them but themselves. And me, of course. Me? I lighten their load. You'd be shocked by the sort of things they bring with them. Gold and jewels, they can't easily exchange. Heirlooms, rarities, sentimental items, even cremation urns. Alas, you can't eat grandmother's ashes, nor can you easily trade a golden candelabra for a bowl of soup. That is where I come in. Liquidity. Their heirlooms for my gold. There is an enterprise within the city that I help to support. I know I said I wasn't given to charity, but this place is dear to my heart. I'd tell you more, but they value discretion above all, as do I.
And this is very close to the conversation that you're going to have if Shadowheart is not in your party when you approach. Okay, now here, my persuasion is +9, so I'm getting a discount here already. But you can still see that what used to be 2,000 is now 1,232 on some of these. But some of these things are still horrifically expensive. So if you want to buy these, Ferg is a person that you want to start bartering with to improve your attitude with him. Now, I don't have a lot of gold because most of my gold is back at camp because of carry weight. But let's say that I give him, that's a little over 400, and I barter it. That got me 11%. So you can see it's going to cost a lot to get his attitude up, and that's because the higher level you are, the more it costs you to improve that attitude. But I gave him 400 gold, give or take, and now instead of 1,250, I'm down to 1,190. So I would save like 70 gold on that one, and 70 gold on this one, and if you bought them all, you would get all of that money back. And that's how things work here, is that getting that attitude up means that you're going to be able to save enough on buying these items that you're going to be able to essentially make your money back. Okay? Now, normally what you would do is you would do this with gold first. Barter out as much gold as you can. Okay, so now he's up to 23. And then you would start selling off all of these items after you're done. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to head back to camp. We're going to pick up some gold out of our chest. And we're just going to take say 6,000. Okay, now we also have a bunch of backpacks and stuff like that with stuff in it that we can sell. Okay. All of these things that we looted and picked up previously. And yes, you can. If you want to bring a hireling along that's level 1, then you can have them do this, and it goes a lot faster. It's too much cheese for me, is what that is. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to take that one. I doubt I'm going to be able to take any of these, honestly. Yep. But I might be able to take it
Lovely day, this.
on somebody else. So why can't I take that one, I wonder? Okay, let's see if I can take the 226 one down here at the end. Okay, so interesting. Let's put that instead on, no, Shadowheart's already got, so we'll just take those two with us that we can handle. This one and this one, I think. Yes. Now we're gonna leave camp.
Can't give up now.
I want to make sure there was also, I believe, yes, the Ring of Geniality gives me Persuasion +1.
Welcome. You see to peruse the special goods, I take it. And
now I'm going to give him, say, 2,000 and see where that goes. So we're at 23. That takes me to 79. $98. Okay, 100. So now I've spent somewhere in the range of 2,900 gold at this point. But now you can see that what used to cost me 2,200 now costs me 770. So I saved something like 1,400 gold in buying this. What used to be like 2,900 is now 1,600. So if you want to buy this, just those two, I'm already saving enough to get my money back. And that's how this works. Okay. So now what I can do also is he's got all of my gold, right? And they fixed this screen, by the way. So now I can click and drag all sorts of crap into this. Whoops. And you don't have to worry about it swapping things back into your inventory anymore like it used to. Okay. And we'll just quickly drag all this over there. The Justiciar Scimitar doesn't do what I wanted it to do, but we'll throw it in camp. We're not going to sell it. Okay, and you will get a quick taste of how this works. Look at my gold. The offer value. Okay, so just on a bunch of trash that I'd picked up, I now got 2,000 of that 3,000 gold back. Now I can go to Gale. There's all of my gold back plus some. Just by trash that we've picked up. And that kind of illustrates how the power of looting all of that stuff can come to be realized in Act 3, because everything is going to cost this much. There is not a single vendor around that is going to be selling cheap stuff anymore. Okay? It's all going to be incredibly expensive. In Honor mode, it's even worse than this. So looting all of that stuff, putting it in backpacks, throwing it in your camp chest to come back and sell it later is incredibly beneficial. Don't leave that stuff laying on the ground here, or you might not have enough gold to be able to buy whatever you want. So this gets us to a good spot here.
So don't make trouble.
Trade secrets. But I can guarantee you that nothing I have to offer was stolen. It was all given happily and willingly. Every last item.
Okay, since he's going to be staying here now, this gets us to a good spot where I can save, and we will pick up here next week. Now, off stream, I am going to pull a bunch of stuff out of my camp chest and come here. I'm going to buy those items from him. I'm going to sell off all of those, a bunch of items, until we run him out of gold, so that basically I've gotten them all for free. And when we come back, we will be back here in the same exact spot, and we will continue on exploring through Rivington, because there is a lot to do here. So, as a reminder, this Wednesday we will not have a live stream as I prepare for the next Baldur's Gate stream, which is going to start not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, most probably. I will put up a post on the community tab for you all to stay up to date on that as we go. And then the Bard live stream and the Paladin live stream will be back again next weekend at the normal times. So, as always, thank you all for being here. I can't thank you enough for all of the comments that I get from my community. I certainly enjoy them all, because without your support, none of this would be possible. So, this is Commander Jorval saying until next time, fare thee well.